Hello and welcome out to this week's episode of the Gamers Council. And this is our bonus episode on the Saturday edition. And we are extremely happy that we have this guest with us today. And we've been trying to get him on for a while, and now we have him. So enjoy the show, folks. It's going to be wild. Off the hook. Maybe not as long as his show, but it will be fun. I still reign. What's up, buddy? Welcome.
Hey, what's going on, Dave? Rhetri. Look, first of all, I just appreciate you guys having me on. It's always a pleasure being on anybody's show or just getting together, being able to chop it up. Because it seems like a lot of people lose the essence of what this is supposed to be about, right? It's our hobby, it's our passion, and at the end of the day, it's us getting together, kicking it. We don't have to always agree. We can agree to disagree and continue to just have fun from there. So appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Oh,
absolutely, man.
Exactly. And of course, my co-host, the co-host with the most host. That's right. It's Rhetri.
Spicy. I bring the spice. What's up? I'm doing good, man. Been playing some games. Apologize to anyone that thought this was happening an hour ago. I had the wrong time. So that's on me. I advertised this at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it was 6 p.m. Central. So my bad. But thanks for coming out, guys. Obviously, I know you guys you'll start wheeling in here. We have decided to open up all the special bonus shows to everybody as a thank you. But really, this show is sponsored by our channel members who joined us. You can obviously join here, guys, if you haven't, for $1. We lowered the amount, so anyone who wants to be a part of the Gamers Council can do so. So go for that. And thank you, Steel Rain, for coming here. This is a long time coming. Obviously, like his family day is Sundays, and we totally respect that. That's when he spends time with his fam, and I have a day where I do that as well. So but I appreciate that we can have these bonus episodes, and that's what we like about him too, is we can have people that we normally can't have on the Sunday show. So thank you for coming out. Steel, appreciate you, brother. The one half of Living Split Screen, of course. The other half will be our brother Pong. So go subscribe to those guys as well if you haven't already. I know Steel, you hit your 1,000 mark not a little while ago, right?
Yeah, I think it's been a couple months now that we've been there. It was a slow and steady stroll, doing it organically, and not really trying to drive it by like giveaways or anything like that, and just have people that just want to come in, hang out, enjoy what we do on a Saturday morning. Because again, like I mentioned, our show goes a little long sometimes. I don't know how we do it. I don't understand how it happens.
I do. Between you and Pong, you guys can talk.
It's a lot of. I mean, that's true. That is true. It's driven by a lot of different angles and in the chat, and I don't know. We're really passionate about this. Me and Pong joke all the time that if we had time to do this 6 hours a day, we probably would be able to somehow. It's how we do it.
You guys,
some people don't know that what actually happened is that they hadn't wrapped up their show yet, and he just basically we just pulled him from his show to here.
Switch from one to the next.
Exactly. I never stopped.
It'd probably be quite successful. Somebody talking gaming 24/7.
That would be a little much. It would be a little much. Yeah. I actually enjoyed my game time too. So Saturday, I don't mind because I enjoyed it. I really love doing the podcast. So.
Awesome. Well, you do a great job at it, man. Enjoy the rhetoric between you guys and the way you break things down, and it's a good listen. And Rhetri, what's our first question you like to go to every time? What's up?
Yeah, well, I like to ask everyone who comes on our show, any show, what you're playing, and if there's any weird TV shows or movies or anything that has piqued your interest. But we'll start off with what you've been playing, Steel.
I've been playing a few different things. I wrapped up my game time on Starfield, right at 106 hours. That was a really good game. It's definitely my game of the year currently. It's an 8 out of 10. Other than that, I've also been able to jump into a little bit of MK11, about halfway through the story on there. That's been a really good time. I'm enjoying it. I jumped in also the first Descendant beta, because they had a crossplay beta, jumped into the closed beta previously, and it's much improved from then. So it's good things on there. It's a looter shooter, kind of in the ilk of Destiny, or more so Warframe. It's some Lost Planet vibes in there too.
Yeah,
at least for me. So, and I feel like there's something else that I have on the list too.
Liza P.
Liza
Yeah.
P.
See, because I saw you the other day. I've been trying to pay attention on my friends list, see who's actually playing it. So I saw you were playing it. So
yeah, Liza
how you
P
liking it?
Liza P is really good. Again, it's definitely on the, I would say, more difficult side as far as Souls games go. Again, it's very punishing. You have to be on point with the parry system. It's not forgiving like Wolong was, where that was extremely forgiving. At least how I felt. But it still has some challenge to it. So, but it's a really good game. I love the story of Pinocchio, and I'm really interested on their take of it so far. Just got through talking with Geppetto, which I don't think is a spoiler alert. They showed that in the trailer.
No. Oh yeah, no, it's not spoiler.
And again, that's what goes back to the traditional story of Pinocchio anyway. But I like the spin that they have on it, and we'll see how I go to enjoy it here moving forward. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Curious, like you saying, kind of you like the twisted version of that. Did you ever play the Alice games, the American McGee's Alice series?
I never played the Alice games. No.
Okay, so it's kind of like taking your like fairy tales and stuff like that, and just making it weird and a little and dark, definitely dark. So it's kind of what these guys did with Liza P too, and there's also, I'm not going to say anything here. I put a spoiler with the content warning being hidden on my Twitter, but at the end of this game, I predicted exactly almost a year ago today that these guys might do a different game, and I got it right. So just saying, at the end of this isn't it. This isn't it for these guys doing twisted versions of some old school stuff.
The same people that made this game?
Yeah. Well, no, these guys. Okay. So American McGee, I was hoping he was going to do what I want to happen, but these guys are actually, it seems like these guys are going to NeoWiz is going to take on this next game, which I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil anything. Because it's like I think it's like an after credit scene that happens. I haven't finished it yet. I accidentally stumbled upon it. Because somebody saw I don't know how this person found it, but someone saw my prediction a year ago and said, "How did you know this?" I was like, "I didn't," but thanks for the call out. But yeah, so that's very cool game. Yeah, I think you're gonna dig it. I think you're gonna dig it once you get there. It's funny to me that you're saying like I had such a tough time with Wolong, and maybe it was just because of that first boss, and maybe Wolong eases off after that. Okay, all right, because you saying like it's more punishing than Wolong. I'm like, oh holy crap!
Oh yeah, really? It's a lot more punishing than Wolong is. It is not.
All right,
it is not.
That's fair.
It does not care. It wants you to learn how to play its way, and it's extremely unforgiving. And Wolong is like that too, especially with that first boss. But once you get the timing of it down and all that, I feel like from there it is much easier. But it does kind of, it's like a wave. It has its apexes and it has its low points. But overall, Wolong's, I would definitely put Wolong on the easier side of the spectrum as far as Souls games go.
Okay,
but again, I mean that's. It's Souls
and I know I like you play. I like to talk about to you specifically about this sort of stuff because I know you like a lot of like Eastern games and stuff. I've seen like the things that you play. So, but you think kind of like Liza P might lean on the harder side of Souls type games? For it's kicking my teeth in, and I'm just wondering if I'm just terrible, which is probably the case.
No, I do. I definitely think that Liza P lays more on the more difficult side, only because it's all about timing, and not everybody wants to get punished to the point where you have to learn every mechanic that the boss has in order to prep for it. This isn't one of those, I can just spec in one way and I'll get through everything. Maybe you could if you were, I guess, maybe decent enough at the game, like building directly into strength, like a lot of people tend to do, because that is known to be one of the more easier ways to get into the experiences. But even
write this down real quick.
But even in this game, the way that it breaks it down, it's not like direct in the beginning because it has you choose like a dexterity, or I forgot what the other one, but it's more of a strength style, and then there's a more lightweight style. And then as you level up, it kind of breaks it down from there where you can see how the stats roll up. But yeah, I would definitely say on the spectrum, this is on the more difficult side.
I'm glad to hear you say that. It makes me feel a little bit better because, I mean, I don't have a lot of patience, but I want to get more into Souls games after playing Elden Ring. And then I was told when I was having difficulty with Liza P and I mentioned Elden Ring and people were like, well, that's the easiest Souls games ever. And I'm like, was it? Shit. Okay. Because I beat that one. But maybe maybe it does lean on the easier side.
Subjectively, at least from what I've seen from the Souls community, I think everybody's pretty much, at least in their opinion. And again, everybody, it's not a let's throw our meat around kind of competition here, but
right.
Is on the scale of things, Elden Ring is easier just because you can walk away, right?
Yeah,
you can.
Right.
There isn't the wall most times, and that has always been the problem with Souls games, which is why it's important that Elden Ring broke through that mold, because it at least helped establish not only to the Souls community, but I think also to the more casual player that, hey, maybe I can play this style of game, but only if it's more so this style, right? Where I don't have to bump my head in the wall. I can go fight some enemies I know I can beat, build my confidence up, build my character up, get used to the game, and then progress, right? So
okay, that's hey, I'm kind of new to this whole genre, so, and I want to get into it. I loved Elden Ring so damn much. Like, I cannot stress enough. It was my game of the year, obviously, and it won.
Oh yeah,
but I'm really digging Lies of P. Yeah, I think Lies of P, I just like atmosphere a lot, and Elden Ring, it just had oozed atmosphere, and this Lies of P is my sort of atmosphere. So I think I'm gonna have to give some other Souls games a try when they go on sale. But
definitely, there's some good ones out there. Hey, I wanted to do a quick shout out.
Let's do it.
We have Dirt Griggity, which Dirt's the man.
What's up,
Love
brother?
Dirt is in the chat.
Dirt.
We have Double Barrel Gaming, which is Mr. Boomstick, is in the chat. We have Galveston. We have so many more. Gaming Beyond the Box. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, I'm telling you, we really appreciate this community, and thank you so much for coming out and supporting us. It means a lot, and I just wanted to throw that out there, man. And plus, we got some great. If you guys have comments or things you want to say in the game on the show, just let us know. Like this, pop it right up. Some of them we read, some of them we won't. But yeah, definitely. Just we're here for you. We want to communicate with you, and we have the mighty Steel Rain today. So so he's got a lot of opinions, and we want if you got questions for him about games or whatever, just bring them on. Let's do it. Oh yeah, Wilmy Hood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wilmy's like,
Wilmy Hood.
Hey, wait, don't forget my name. Yeah, but your show's fantastic.
That's right. Yeah, we on this show, like our platform, what we agreed to do is try to get the community involved as much as possible. This is why on this show you'll see. Luckily, I got Dave controlling all this stuff behind the scenes, so he's really good at popping up everyone's comments in here. So as much as he can, there's a lot more like to buttons to click behind the scenes than I think people might realize. But yeah, we like to get the community involved, man. Like, we're all about the community. Obviously, I get a Discord for community gaming, which we did last night, and we played some Party Animals, because I had to step away from Elden Ring because I wanted to try Party Animals, I wanted to try Lies of P, and nothing is disappointing right now, man. Like, I knew this week was going to be this past week was going to be great for Game Pass because it had 3 titles, all I was excited about. So being Party Animals, being all the games I just mentioned, and Payday 3, which I haven't even touched yet. I still haven't finished my Starfield playthrough on the main quest. I'm like 100. I think I'm right around where you ended on, Steel. I think I'm right. I know I'm over 100 hours. I just can't remember exactly where. But great game. Love that game. Definitely my game of the year. But it's a game that I think I will be able to go back to and put like a ton of more hours into, because it will be hundreds of hours by the time I'm done with that game, just like I did with Elden Ring as well. But Steel, is there any TV shows or any movies or anything that you've been watching? I know you've been gaming a ton, but is there anything that you've watched lately that interests you, or you've just been gaming?
Yeah, well, the one that I'm interested in right now is Ahsoka, although I haven't started watching it. I do want to get into it just because I was a huge fan of Clone Wars. I grew up as a kid watching that on TV, so I have a lot of relation to that. Also, episode 1 through 3 came out when I was a kid, so there's a lot of attachment that I have to Darth Vader himself, and the whole Anakin, like that whole up to that point, and everything that came with it, and then the relationship with Obi-Wan. But when I have such more of a focus on gaming for entertainment than I do anything else, unfortunately. And that's just a sacrifice that I choose, right? I end up in discussions with people all the time when people say that, oh, gaming's a waste of time, or whichever the case, what angle that they hit. I say, hey, well, what do you do for your entertainment? Oh, I watch TV. Oh,
I binge 7 hours straight on Netflix. That also might be considered a waste of time.
Yeah, I would think that me using my hand-eye coordination, some thought processes, putting my brain to the test is a little bit more useful than what you may be doing, but that's neither here or there, So you make sacrifices, got to still spend time with family and things. So it's been mainly gaming for me right now.
Yeah, awesome. Good to hear. I'm getting that a lot. When I ask that question, a lot of people are like, I haven't watched crap in a while. I've just been gaming. I'm like, that's good. Like, I try to do a little bit of a balance, but there's not too much out there that is interesting me. But I did just watch a really cool movie, actually, and I don't watch a lot of movies anymore, on Hulu, and it's totally leaving my brain. But it's a brand new, if you're subscribed to Hulu, it's a brand new Alien movie that came out, and not like aliens, but just about aliens. And it's really good, man. Like, it's creepy. It's one of the better alien movies I've seen in a while. So if you like scary stuff, go check it out. What is this? What's up? Stop talking. Crispy is here. Okay. All right. What's up? Stop talking about Crispy. There you go. All right. Yeah, no, he's a good guy. Crispy's a good guy.
Was it me or was Rhetri botting, or was it me that was botting? But it's fine now.
Were we botting?
No,
it might have been
me. Botting for me.
Okay, I may have just been on my feed here, and sometimes it just smooths it out, and you never know the difference. I was just like, it's like, wow, Mr. Roboto, awesome. But we're good. I checked the other feed.
Also,
we're
good show.
Good.
Yeah.
Welcome, Crispy Cool Man.
What's
Isaac
up, Crispy?
Hayes. Welcome, Wilmy Hood. We love you being here, Wilmy Hood. I was just reading the tag, man. I love you, man. Oh, goodness.
Crispy's been watching Billions. I actually have been watching Billions as well. That's a really good show. So, yeah. Great actors in that. Oh, boy, Crispy. All right. I'm not going to read that one. All right. So let's get into the topics, obviously. Always curious to see everyone's opinion on what's going on with all the Xbox leaks that just came out. And wow, was there a lot. Obviously, we'll start off with kind of a softball, I guess. I don't know if it's a softball. It depends on who you ask, because we were arguing not too long ago on a podcast where I said I think there was going to be a refresh of 2024, and I'm taking some knees because other people said, no way, that's stupid.
It is stupid.
But I was it is. Well, I agree with it. The thing is I said on several podcasts, I think there will be a refresh, but I don't think there should be a refresh. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we got the 2024 console refresh lineup. I guess I'll start off with the obvious question, Steel, to you. Do you think it's necessary? Does the refresh bother you? Do you think it's an answer to what's going on with PlayStation and PlayStation Pro, if that's a real thing? Because some people still think that that's not actually happening. So I don't know. I'm just curious about your thoughts of the cylinder design and the small upgrades, because it's coming with a Bluetooth upgrade and a Wi-Fi 6E, I think is the latest standard upgrade. Nothing too crazy, but doubling the storage, which I think is the big sell here. But what are your thoughts about this particular leak? Are you digging it? Is it something that you're going to buy, or where do you stand on this?
Well, since I do own a PC, unfortunately, and I do have a Series X, I don't see the point in upgrading. I was one of the ones on the side of didn't necessarily need to, but I can understand slimming down the console. Now, the rumored design that we're seeing, or the leaked design that we saw, I hope that that's not factual, because I don't get why make, because it looks like it's a box, or it's still square on some sides maybe, but it's maybe a cylinder on a certain edge, or more curved on a certain edge. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't necessarily see the point in that, unless you were able to make the console maybe half as small as it was now. I'm more so along the lines, I would have been interested in seeing them cut the Series X in half, take out the CD drive, and offer us an all digital version. I think that would have been really interesting to see. I know that maybe took additional R&D time, and I don't know if they're necessarily trying to win things on that side, because I am on the side of the fence that I think Xbox's power narrative is going to be more so generation to generation versus in the
like
middle
mid-gen.
of a generation. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
More, hey, we had the power narrative for the most of this generation. If PlayStation puts out a PlayStation 5 Pro, so what? We got all these games that are coming in. We'll finally be using the tools, quote unquote. All of our dev teams will be much more familiar. We'll be halfway, if not more, into the generation. And again, we always run into the same thing. Games at the end of the generation always take full capability, and we see so many advances at the end of the generation for a reason. Again, look at you go back to last
for many reasons, right? Yeah. Because everything's matured. It's funny I love that you say that, Steel, because I've said that and I get a ton of crap for it. And I don't know why. It's like gamers' memories are extremely short, because this happens every generation and will happen every generation till now, the end of time, where everyone's expecting all these great leaps in the first 2 to 3 years. It's not, that's never happened. It's not going to happen.
It's always a problem.
Like you were, it's always a problem. It's always going to be a problem, because everyone's like, what the hell? But half of these games were already in development when they were even thinking about the next version of the Xbox or PlayStation or whatever. So of course they're not going to be able to utilize tech that they don't even have yet. I mean, but that's, to your point, that's why we get all the best versions of games at the end. I mean, look, Liza P. Liza P is a great example, even though this is still like halfway through the gen, basically. But it's using UE4, and it looks great, really good for a game that's not using UE5, the latest and greatest. Right. Like, I'm super impressed.
Because art style still matters, right?
Art style is number one for me. Yeah. But yeah, so this one's like you're a PC guy, you already have your X. This one's not for you. The design, you're not. It's funny, a lot of people are really liking design. So I'm glad I think you're the first one I've heard that are like not too keen on the design itself. What do you think the price point at $500 is still okay at the end of next year for this coming? See, that's what I've been wondering too. That's fair. I think it's a fair question.
If you're taking the disk drive out and then charging me $100 more just because you're putting an additional terabyte in there, almost halfway into the generation, I feel like you're not doing. And again, who am I to say as a consumer whether it's right or wrong? I just feel like that's distasteful. I would rather see a price maybe around $399, and then you get the Series S down to $199 with the 1 terabyte right at $249. So you would have different tiers, right? If you wanted to spend the $400, you can, and you are going to get that brand new Series X. So I mean, I think that would be the best way to get more of your player base enticed, because the other thing too that you have to consider is that we also from the leaks got confirmation that the Series S is their most popular console. That's the one that's really moving units for them. And if that's the case, at what point do those Series S users upgrade to the Series X because they want that additional performance? And if this new console is supposed to be that, then why outprice it again as if it's a brand, as if a brand new console, or as if it's a pro version? So because again, you're saying a pro version will be $600, and I don't.
Like had they done the pro version in 2024, you're right. It would have to automatically be more than the 500. I know, like I was on another podcast and I mentioned I said exactly what you did. You took out the drive, you gave me some more space, and you're charging me the same amount for it that you did in 2020 with extra Wi-Fi and a little bit better the Bluetooth. I don't know, unless the controller itself that it comes with, which we know there's a new controller as well, is going to be at a higher price point. But how much higher could it possibly be than they are right now? I don't know.
If we get to the point where we're paying, I mean, even paying $70 for a controller right now is asinine, at least to me, especially when we have controllers that have stick drift within 3 months.
Like, exactly.
Again, now you want to sell me a controller that I can take apart and do things with. Okay, no, we need to go back to like a $50 controller. These replacement parts for the joysticks, $20. Maybe I can consider that if you want to think that, if you feel like that's an option. But I think there's just, for me, why consoles are special to me is because that's where the ingenuity comes from, because you can't do things like a PC. Yes, those things are kind of being blurred in some ways now, mainly because of the architecture is talking the same language. But that doesn't mean that we can't still get that future proofing or that ingenuity that we get from those from the people that are on these R&D teams, from like a Jason Rondo, for an example. We praise those guys for what they were able to fit into this box. So I would rather see things like that, especially out of the controller. I don't like any of the features that the new features that it's coming with, but it's some positive things. So
yeah. Let me let's say Gowan said, with all controllers going forward, have all the changeable parts, or is that just a special one? Man, it's, someday. I just like, to Steel's point, I've had a lot of issue with stick drift myself, and I just want to get to a world where I don't have to deal with stick drift anymore. At least coming from the companies like Microsoft and Sony. But
yeah,
we'll see. Time will tell. But I'm curious though, does the future of an all digital console, if this is going to happen, and this is a big question mark, I have no clue, but this is maybe alluding to that might happen. Does that does an all digital console, does that bother somebody like you? Are you a physical guy, or have you kind of switched over mostly to digital? I'm just curious.
You know what's interesting? When is the last time that you honestly saw a PC with a CD drive?
Yeah.
I mean, just as a perspective.
Yeah.
And the only reason I bring that up, and of course, I would still like to have the option on a console, because again, it is supposed to be your form of entertainment. Unless we drastically, if something changes that drastically, again, changes like the internet speeds globally, or maybe even in our own country where the average is still maybe 35, 40 megs now. I mean, there's other things that need to change for certain things to make sense. So for an all digital future, I don't necessarily mind it, because I'm already at that point now. In the CDs that you get are so invaluable to me, and these companies have made sure that they're invaluable and make people, and again, nothing against the physical people, but they have really made these people feel as though they're still getting something, and you're not. You have gotten less in that CD case than you have ever gotten. There's no guide in there. There's no handbook. There's no stickers.
Yeah, stripped down big time.
You have a CD that you still have to pop into your console and download and update, or the license, or it's getting to a point to where I personally feel like we've gotten past the what are we going to do about it phase. It's we either adapt to it, because at the end of the day, gaming has become such a form of entertainment that it needs online capabilities. But we need to also figure out, that's why backwards compatibility is important, and I hope that continues forward. We need to continue to figure out how to emulate previous games so we don't lose that history and that art that was created previously. So
yeah, I think I'm like, I'm like 90% digital, 10% physical, but I'm only doing that on one console. I'm doing that I specifically bought the PlayStation version with the disc drive in it to save money, because
that makes sense. That's what I would do.
You know what I mean? On the long run, everyone's like, well, you just spent $100 more. On the long, throughout the whole history of that console generation, though, I will have saved money guaranteed. Because the problem with digital is, man, they just like controlling the price points, and they just not coming down as much. I mean, you can get digital stuff on sale, obviously, but I can get that physical almost every time, half of what you're paying on your digital sale. That's the only downside I see about this. And just trading in and on that whole market, but it's been disappearing year after year. I mean, that's why we see GameStop's just like was bleeding out and just dying left and right, and so many of those stores closed. But it's one of those things. Yeah, Dave knows all about it. We've had plenty of people on this show that have worked there. So it's it kind of stinks in a way. I don't want to see consoles in the future without them, but I mean, like you said, PCs, I honestly, like when you said, when was the last time you remember PC coming with like a CD-ROM or it's been a hot minute, right? And that's a really good point.
And
so
nobody said it.
That's
happen. The crazy thing.
That's
nobody
right. Yeah,
said
that's
anything.
true.
It just,
I tell you, one thing to put this in perspective, one of the reasons for the huge success of the PlayStation 2 was not only that it played the new games and was backwards compatible, played the old game, but it had the CD drive, and also the DVD.
A lot of people
player.
bought it just for that. At that time too, it was one of the cheap. It was, I think it was. I remember reading articles. It was the cheapest way to get one. And so you got your Blu-ray player plus a gaming machine, and it was the cheapest Blu-ray player out there, right?
DVD player. Now PlayStation 3.
I'm sorry, DVD. Sorry,
PlayStation 3.
PlayStation 3. I still have 2 PlayStation 3s of the slim models in other rooms in the house, just because they're still one of the best Blu-ray players ever, and they always updated it. I mean, including like the 3D and all that stuff. That stuff came in. You could get glasses, do the TV. I was like, what? And it was all the existing box. They just software updates is all they did to continue to make it one of the best Blu-ray players. And that's one of the reasons why it still has a little bit of value when you go to a lot of stores and stuff, because people are like, well, it's almost same price as a Blu-ray at Walmart or whatever, or more, but you have the ability to play the games as well as use it as a Blu-ray. Sorry.
Right.
Start playing.
No, absolutely. Pat F saying I love physical copies, but like the panelist saying I love the opinion to choose. Yeah, I think maybe that's more. I think that's the biggest thing, right? I think it's just like
it needs to be true choice, though.
Right, you're right. If there's real choice and you're taking away the physical, and then there's no choice. But we're also seeing it. Just some games are starting to come out just digital only. They're not even coming out with physical copies at all. And it's like, you see the writing on the wall. It's there.
When the new horror game, the
Texas Chainsaw?
No.
That was a different one.
The sequel.
I can't remember.
Alan Wake.
Oh, was Alan Wake 2? Is that one supposed to be all? I think you're right.
They
anyone in the chat?
Digital.
Yeah.
When it first was coming out. Yeah, it's crazy.
Sports 001, like I get the perspective where you're coming from. He said, yes, I can't wait to spend 70 plus on games that I won't ever own. Oh, let's not forget that you better have good internet. And just to that point,
that's how it is right now, though.
I'll just be honest with you. Do you really think that you own the game that you're buying from the store on disc?
Exactly.
You're still paying for a license. And if that game, if the server for that game is ever taken down, again, this is outside of story games or just single player games. That's it. You can pop that disc in all you want. It's not going to boot the game up. Babylon's Fall is a good example. If you had a physical copy of that game, you can't play it. It's gone.
Right. Yep. He's right. And it's been like that for a little while. So yeah, I mean, that's not, I get what you're saying, brother, but that's not really, it's not a good point anymore. It hasn't been like that for a hot minute.
We look at games different now, I feel like.
Yeah.
At least for me, I look at games, I value games based off of more like that $1 an hour kind of thing. What am I paying for the time that I'm playing? Or what am I getting for the time that I'm playing? And if I put 100 hours into a $70 game, I don't regret that. That sounds about right. Even if I put 70 hours in a $70 game, that sounds there's so many other things I could spend
great conversion
on. Like, or you know what I mean? It's just that's my perspective. But again, everybody has to have their reasons for why they enjoy the hobby. So
yeah, absolutely. I do. It's funny that you say that, Steel, because I always do it based on like how much time I'm gonna get it for my $1 too. And I always kind of go back to like Blu-rays or movies, and I'm like, well, that's 2 hours and I spent this. So I always love comparing those two mediums together, even though they're very different, but because it's just dollar and cents to me at the end of the day. I don't care if they're two different mediums. It's how much money I'm actually expending out of my pocket. So Dave, do you care about this digital only thing? Like if it happens, like, does that bother you at all? I'm just curious to get your opinion on this as well.
I prefer to have choice, and I prefer to have, all right. So I have both right now. I have the Series X in the living room, big TV, 75 inch, 120 20 frames, whatever. So it can, it can play all the Blu-rays, my 4K disc, all that kind of stuff, and I can enjoy that as well. Plus, we have the higher tier of Netflix, so we have watch 4K movies, that kind of stuff. And most of the stuff when we buy digital, you usually have a choice to buy in 480, 720, or 4K. Are the options that you can, spend a little bit more money sometimes. Sometimes you get them on sale, but you can get that digitally that way, and we try and get the highest digital quality that we can when we do that. But as far as like if it's if that's the only choice, then obviously I'm gonna go for it. But but I hope that they see the wisdom in making like the add-on type device, the option, the
like kind of like Sony did,
well,
like
Sony's supposedly doing, making an external. We haven't seen it yet, so until we see it, it's vaporware.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
But that would be a nice option that you could still spend the money, especially if you could get in at a lower price point with just the digital unit, and then maybe if you want to spend the extra money to have the other options, they're there for you. That was my thinking.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that at least makes a lot of people quiet when they're bitching about this, because there's going to be a lot of people, if it does go all digital, we're going to hear about it, even if it's a year from now. We're already hearing about
10
it
years
now.
Too late. You're 10 years
You're
too
right.
late, man.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I get it, because I've been buying physical for my PlayStation, but I'm kind of like, I've been seeing this coming for so long, then it's just like, whatever. Let's just, it's not, you're not going to win that fight. They're going to push it forward. They're going to do what they're going to do. So,
well, they're going to force it on CD. So
they're going to force it. You're right. They're forcing it. Yeah. They're forcing it with you, whether you have the physical or not. So like you were mentioning earlier, Steel. So, let's talk about this new controller. It's supposed to have the next version of wireless for Xbox Wireless. Direct to cloud connection, Bluetooth 5.2. Yay. Says new mobile app features. Not liking a pattern of going, hearing this stuff, mobile, and cloud. I'm just going, ugh. And it seems like it's going to be one of those devices, or a device that they want to be able to switch from your Xboxes, your clouds, your PC, like very easily. They've been saying that in the background that they wanted the technology to easily do that, because it is a pain in the butt when I go from my PC into my Xbox and switch and try to reconnect it without it like turning on my Xbox in the other room and all that jazz. So that'll be nice. And then we get the new modular thumbsticks. That's a huge thing, I think, which will improve the longevity of this device, because I am a killer of thumbsticks. I've killed a lot. Probably a dozen. That's probably not exaggeration. They've been good lately for me, though. This one is the one I've had from 2020 is the same one, and I haven't had much stick drift. So good on them for that. But of course, there's also haptic feedbacks. There's going to be speakers in it, an accelerometer, kind of like Nintendo, I guess. And I don't know, guys. Quieter buttons and thumbsticks. Do you care about the haptic feedback and all that stuff coming to Xbox to kind of align themselves more like PlayStation? Is that something that interests you? Have you played any PlayStation games where you thought, wow, this really is like elevating my experience? I love this controller, even though it has the worst battery life of all time. But I don't know, Steel, what do you think about haptics? What do you think about this new controller? Is this and the two-tone design, is that something that you like, or what are your thoughts about the one coming in 2024 with the new consoles?
Well, if this leaked or rumored controller is seen to be true, I really don't care about any of these extra features. I don't use Rumble in any of my controllers outside of racing games, because that's the only time that it really makes sense for me. I've grown so accustomed to shooters where I just turn vibration completely off that feels more comfortable to me. The controller doesn't create more immersion. I would have to have a different level of VR where I'm actually plugged in order for you to give me the level of immersion that you're trying to give me in a controller. I just want my controller to work, man. Honestly, when I'm paying $200 for Elite controllers, as an example, and I have multiples of them, and trust, and I love my Elite controllers. I really do. But my problem is for 2 generations of Elite controllers, they are still piss poor durability. Yep. I do not understand why
both of mine less than 6 months.
It happens every time. I had mine for a couple years before I got stick drift, things of that nature, and I was able to fix them. But nonetheless, whether it be grips falling off, whether it be the stick drift that we were talking about, when you're paying that type of money, I don't want you to focus on adding new features into my controller. I want you to focus on making sure your controller can last. Maybe look at putting an LCD screen on the controllers like we saw the rumors back in the day. I think that would be cool. But outside of, I don't, and again, they did do a survey, and obviously there was enough people, and they did that survey, I want to say a couple years ago, that they sent around to different people asking if people wanted haptic feedbacks in their controller, if they wanted the gyro system in their controllers, and I guess enough people said yes. So again, people do like to innovate on controllers, but for me personally, I like the way the directions their Elites are going. I just want to see better quality for the money that I'm paying, especially when they're using the materials that they use. So
yeah, I like that. That's a really good point. Like if I, as someone who I feel like one of the few people who actually really liked the haptics on the PlayStation when they actually do it, which has become really the sticking point. It's like, great, but the devs have to support it, and nobody's really doing that. So it's kind of like it's a feature that if no one's going to implement, then who cares? Then it's literally doesn't exist. But I also shut off a lot of the haptics when I play my FPS shooters as well. So I'm right there with you. So half the time it gets shut off anyways. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. We'll see if this controller is real and comes to life. I believe these leaks probably more than anything, just because we're not too far off. I know these leaks are old, but I could see this mid-gen refresh being a real thing for next year. But I don't know, Dave, what do you think about the controllers? Do you care about haptics?
Well,
okay, no, but so what's your
there was read that comment real quick, so I'm going to answer to that too.
Sure. Cyber says, I love haptic triggers, etc. when playing bike and car games. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good implementation, really.
And from what I understand, it's pretty good when you use it, because I mean I haven't obviously, but you use it like on it with like a bow or something, you know what I mean, where you feel like you're giving that pull back and then the tension and then you let it go kind of thing. I am glad. I like the haptic idea, but I'm super glad there is not haptic triggers. I don't like them. I don't like haptic triggers, but I do like the haptic feedback and the gyro built in. So I mean, it's a give and take. If I had to take the choice, this is the way I would go with it. And I'm not disparaging or putting anybody down that likes the haptic triggers. That's cool. When I did it, I would go in and I would turn off, especially like a Ghost of Tsushima when it has the option for that for the update, and I just went in and turned it off because it would just pissed me off. It was everything I could do was
too
like,
much.
oh, it's I don't need that.
That whole system is built out of plastic too, so it's just like
it's
look at the internals of the controller
constantly.
I don't know.
There goes your longevity, right, Steel? Like you're talking about, hey, I want better parts. I want my thing to last, and you're just going like every time you do anything. Yeah, that's.
I got heavy hands, man. Like
yeah.
So.
Welcome out to over 50 people in the chat. Thank you so much for being here on a special bonus show on a Saturday. We are very blessed to have Steel Rain. Still love having your comments and your input today. This is awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And Rhetri, back to you, man. I just had to throw that out there. So many great people in the chat.
Absolutely.
Too, man.
Thank you guys for coming out. You got some great comments here. Like Silent was saying, he gives zero craps about the new Rumble. Didn't care about when Sony announced it, and I don't care now. Okay, whatever. You just don't like to have fun. That's fine, Silent. I know. Gowinson's, he's saying I always turn Rumble off. The only force feedback I use is on PC, either on the G923 wheel and the Flight HOTAS setup. I mean, it's not for everybody. It was a cool idea. I really liked it. In Astro's Playroom, I was like, wow, this is great. And then no one else really implemented it not even like half as well as that. Obviously, that game was a showpiece. It was made for that. I understand that, but no one else really kind of stepped up to the plate after that using the PS5, and in a way that made me go, okay, this is going to stick around. So I guess it's a little weird that precision haptic feedback and all that stuff is coming.
Read that one, Rhetri.
Into that, but yeah. Cypher, I mostly definitely do not like fun. Yeah, I'm messing with him. That's not true. He was playing Party Animals with us last night, and we had a blast. So moving on, we'll move on to some more of the Xbox leaks here. You like blowing controllers. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for somebody to say that. Yeah, that was the most awkward moment when my wife was looking around. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You're supposed to blow into the controller for this part. I'm never doing this again."
Yeah, when my wife came out with a controller strapped to her waist, I knew I was in for a night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm bringing that old man energy. Maybe you're bringing that old man energy, Silent. Let's move on to the 2028 console. This is kind of interesting. So the hybrid console was also leaked for 2028. Basically, all the plans for Xbox were pretty much leaked out, so that kind of sucks for them. But we're seeing some interesting things. I watched a video years ago about them possibly, Xbox specifically, possibly going changing up their CPU to ARM, and that's what this leak was showing as an option, at least. So showing the CPU is an ARM 64 versus x84 or x64. CPU, they were saying a balance of big and little CPU cores, and GPU being a co-design with AMD or licensed AMD IP. So I don't know. Then it's saying that we got DirectX ray tracing, next gen DirectX ray tracing, dynamic global illumination, micro polygon rendering optimizations, machine learning based super resolution, and the thin OS. So lacking thin OS for $99 consumer or handheld devices. So there's a lot to kind of pick apart here. If anyone cares, or if anyone even thinks that this is gonna come to fruition, because we still got a ways from 2028. But I'm curious, do you think they will actually pick like ARM CPUs, and does that matter? And it almost feels like this is leaning a little bit towards like a little mobile, to a little bit too much mobile love for my liking. But one thing I do love about this is the whole hybrid side of it. Them being able to basically get a console for hopefully at that point still $500, but them leveraging the cloud like they do in Microsoft Flight Sim to give you maybe like $1,500 worth of hardware that you don't have to buy. So I'm just curious, Steel, what are your thoughts about the leak for the 2028 console? Do you think this is a good direction that Xbox is going in with this hybrid idea, or what are your thoughts, really?
I don't know if using ARM is going to be necessarily the best way to go about, just because one of the biggest issues for Xbox this generation is the devs getting into their architecture and using all of the elements of what it was supposed to be settled in for this year, this gen with RDNA 2 and RDNA 3 in some aspects. So for the people that are interested in those types of things, I do think that taking a different approach overall to game development, or trying to find a way to use the cloud, if internet continues to progress at the rate that we've seen it, or faster, I think it would be a good way to go. Just only because, like we see with Microsoft Flight Simulator, being able to bring in petabytes of data that is not available in your current console hardware, but you're able to play it on your console, I think is a very unique thing. Now, I don't think every game needs to do it. I do think we need to first get to a point where games are coming more so day and date complete. I think that should be more so the goal, and having hardware that supports that. That's what we got this generation. In a lot of ways, this is the first time that I personally feel like both hardware manufacturers from Sony and Microsoft were on the pulse of the industry. Well, we know Sony was a little behind, at least by a year or two behind Xbox. That's why Xbox waited and everything. But it's just, I don't know. I do think it's a good direction, but I want to see them to continue. Hopefully, they continue to innovate in ways, and that cloud is something that they don't necessarily rely on, but maybe continue building towards. You know what I mean? It's a stepping stool. It's not like after that generation we won't have consoles anymore. I think there'll still be one more at least, and then it'll be more of a premium type of thing to have a console. So
right. Yeah, I think these are far out enough where even if this was the possible idea of going with ARM, I feel like this one is more loosey-goosey, where this one could they could go either way. They might not necessarily go with ARM. I don't necessarily like where that could be going, what future that could mean. Shaun T put in the chat, the ARM discussion is the biggest indicator they are thinking handheld. Yeah, I mean, if it was separate, if it was just a handheld itself, I'm fine with that. Like, I would actually we've discussed this before previously. I really love a handheld in general, but I don't know. Like, it's still a far way out, so who knows what's going to happen with that. Shaun T saying, I think the new iPhone GPU is scarier to Microsoft than any of these leaks. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, Apple has definitely stepped it up with their M1 chips and their chips and everything they have going on inside the phones as well. So yeah, it's, I think actually Shaun might have said this, or somebody said that they're real, when Phil was saying that their competitors are not, that is not Sony, and they're more worried about the other bigger guys like your Amazons and your Googles and stuff like that. I think maybe that was a very true statement. Star Traffic saying the chip would be a combination of ARM, x86 and 64. Okay, so I didn't know that. I guess the specs were a little, kind of cut and dry, so it was kind of hard to understand exactly what they were saying. But if that's the case, great. Like, maybe it seems more like an Apple type of thing. You know what I mean? They're talking about little CPUs, big GPUs, ARM, x86, 64, and the whole gamut. So you're kind of having several different things doing several different pieces and lifting up, as well as the cloud. I am excited about the hybrid idea. That's what I kind of thought they were going to do. They talked about using the cloud more years ago in games anyways. And the only really great example we have of that is Microsoft Flight Sim. But I would like to see more of that happening. To Steele's point, not doing the heavy lifting, but supplemental with, like, they mentioned somewhere in here, one of the articles I read, where it's just more like NPCs, AI dialogue and stuff like that is being controlled, which I'm perfectly fine with. Like, let the machine do most of the heavy lifting and let this thing, the cloud in the background, be supplemental, which I think is cool. It's a cool future, and it puts Microsoft in a fantastic position as being the leader in this, because what does Sony do then? Do they, if they're, if you have a $500 Microsoft console and a $500 Sony one, and one's getting help from the cloud and one isn't, that ain't good for Sony. So I see Sony's future making some deals with Amazon or Microsoft themselves, so they can use the same technology and basically do the same thing Microsoft is doing. But yeah, so I don't know. You got any thoughts on this whole thing, Dave, on the new hybrid console? Is this something that excites you, or?
Well, I mean, it is early, and the leak that it came from, the documents were 2 years old. So there is, I mean, probably by now they're down to, this is what it needs to be, this is where it needs to go. And so there's probably some variants or some changes and stuff, but what we talked about, which I'll bring up here in just a little bit. Kojima, one of his things is he wanted to have a place where he could make a game that would be able to utilize the cloud more. And then plus two, you got Flight Simulator, which really utilizes the global cloud pool for for the amazing graphics and real-time weather that it pulls down from the cloud. So that's, so it's definitely can work for sure. As far as like how far they want to go with it, I mean, it's exciting to see for sure. But I guess to answer your question is I don't think that's quite what we're going to get when it comes out. Probably a variation of that, and then maybe they're designing it so they can, instead of how can I say it? If they build it right, maybe this time instead of having 2 SKUs with a one being weaker, one being less, they have a powerful system that can be both Switch-like and console, not necessarily the same system, but then also that same technology can be put into a handheld without any degrading of the quality. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in other words, it's like not like, well, let's make it less powerful because it's a handheld. Well, maybe it's super powerful, but they can sell you a
like the ROG Ally, but Switch-like.
Yeah, something like this. Am I making any sense at all? Maybe I'm not.
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah,
okay.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
So
I mean, 2 calories point. You said the M2 chip, the M2 Apple chip in their desktop and MacBooks are all ARM based. No reason to think they're only for mobile devices. You're right. Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely right. That's true. I mean, these chips have come a long way. So who knows? And in 2028, yeah. So I don't know. I guess I just fear Xbox doing something too wacky. I don't want them to go too bananas. But I would like I still want a handheld. I just don't know if it's gonna ever happen.
The other thing people got to consider too is that there's always technology differences and things that happen, and things instead of AMD, we could be NVIDIA now in these consoles,
Right. Yeah. People have been saying that too. That's true. Yeah. I guess you never know, right? You never really know what's going to happen.
The last
but we do know.
I'll say on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
The last thing I'll say on that is that, as far as, one of the big pushes is which we are this week with the Tokyo Game Show, is that they really want to push into the Japanese market. And if they have a system that, like, say in the US, you can, market it big beefy console with the option if you can buy a handheld version, that doesn't do both. In other words, it's not like a Switch where you dock it and all that kind of stuff, where it's either one or the other.
It's 2 SKUs you're talking. Yeah.
Exactly. 2 SKUs, but the same machine, same power, so they can play all those games. But in Japan, a handheld would be huge, because we know, like, all the handhelds that Nintendo's made in the past were real successful because they're just, Japanese gamers, the culture, it's more on the go, or it's smaller. I mean, and there's nothing against the culture. This is just the way it is. Their housing and all that stuff is just smaller, and it's easier, more convenient for them to be able to play that way than it is to try and, set up a big, huge machine in the house. Just a thought. That's all.
Yeah, I love that future. I hope I hope you're spot on.
I do, however, think that I don't think Xbox is ever going to get into handheld themselves. I think it's just going to be more through assists, right? Again, like all the support that you saw them kind of give to the ROG Ally, I think that's what we're going to see from Xbox, and that's what's going to help people maybe get into the ecosystem when they see a device like that is upgradable, that is capable of hooking up to a TV and just playing off of that device, or hooking up an external controller and playing it via Bluetooth through that device. I think that is definitely the way to go about things, but I think for them it's more so on the support side, because it is technically too late. If PlayStation wasn't able to do it, and we saw the success of the PlayStation, of the PSP, the Vita, which the consumers, their player base didn't support, which is why they stopped making them, and then their lack of willingness to compete with the Nintendo ever since. I do think that Xbox sees it more as a, hey, we'll help you out, we'll support, we'll put a native thing on your device and make it easy for people to see that Microsoft or Xbox is a part of this. So,
and not to push back at all, but just to when the handheld for like the Vita, the PSP, they were their own proprietary gaming thing. In other words, you had to have the disc, you had to have all that, which is all different. Where if they made it to where the handheld was the exact same thing, but obviously it'd be like an all digital version because you couldn't put a disc drive in there. This digital future. So what if it's a nice beefy handheld that plays the exact same quote unquote digital content that you have? So in other words, if you have Game Pass and you have it and you can download it and play it on your home system, and you have the portable version, it's going to play exactly the same, no frame rate difference, no arguing. That's the only thing I think is that if one of the reasons why, like you said, those other devices, the handhelds weren't necessarily they had proprietary formats as far as the thing. But if it's all like, if it's a digital future and it plays exactly the same, but it's just I can play remotely or I can play on my TV. That seems to me, it's like,
if they were able to do that, I would be extremely impressed.
But
that would be dope. That would be dope.
10 years from now,
yeah, I mean, if they could pull that off, and that'd be a big if. But I mean,
it
who
is
knows?
a big if. You're right.
Yeah, that's a very big if.
Speculation town, fantasy.
I love Fantasyland, man. Like, because honestly, Dave, I want to swim in those waters, dude. Like, what you're saying sounds utopian and sounds fantastic. So I'm not gonna say I don't want that. Yeah, I kind of agree with Steel on this one. Unfortunately, I think there's just too many players coming out of the woodwork with these handhelds where Xbox is. I think we know they were thinking about it. We know it was in their R&D. We know they were doing this stuff behind the scenes. There's no question about that. The problem is like a lot of this, 99% of the stuff just never sees the light of day. And I just wonder if they just saw all these guys coming out and they're like, well, we don't really have to do anything. We just have to support these guys like the ROG and your Logitechs and everyone else who's coming out with these Steam Deck and just and it's going to go on, and all these Chinese knockoffs. There's a ton of them now. Like, it's ridiculous. I can't even keep up. And they're good. Yeah, they're very, very good. Like, some of these cheaper ones that most people haven't heard of, they're very solid machines. So I don't know if Xbox is going to do their own. I absolutely want them to do their own, but I just don't know if they're going to do it. But
it'd definitely be cool.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it, and I would probably buy it day one. But let's move on to the next subject, and that is more leaks, because it's just never ending, and obviously we can't get to all the leaks. But Bethesda's a bunch of Bethesda games got leaked. Some of these we already knew about. Well, one in particular we already knew about, we heard about. Let's just go down the line and we'll talk about these, and if these mean anything to you personally, Steel or Dave. The first one was the Oblivion remaster. So this, to the guys in the space and everyone probably listened to this, we already heard about this rumor. So this just basically solidified that it's true. So Oblivion remaster, originally set for fiscal year 2022. Obviously, COVID pushed everything back at least a solid 2 years. So maybe we'll see Oblivion next year. I don't know. But we also got Doom Year Zero and DLC fiscal year 2023. Obviously that is incorrect. And a second set of DLC coming fiscal year 2024. So every date that I give you, just push back a minimum of 1 year to two, probably two. The Fallout 3 remaster, that was originally set for fiscal year 2024. A sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo, fiscal year 2024. Now, this one surprised me. This is the one I do want to talk about this one a little bit, because this was before it came out. So I don't know. We talked about this on another podcast. I was like, I was surprised that Ghostwire is going to get a sequel. I liked the game. I didn't love the game, but I'm not sure how successful it was for them. So this one, I would say maybe out of all of these, take that one with a grain of salt. Maybe. People can disagree with me. That's fine. And the last one was Dishonored 3, and that was set originally for fiscal year 2024. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But out of these games, now we know Bethesda's roadmap, or some of their roadmap at least. Is any of these excite you? Oblivion, Doom, Fallout, Ghostwire, and Dishonored. I'll start with you, Steel, obviously. Anything that piques your interest here?
The only thing that really piques my interest at all is going to be Doom, but even that is a very standoffish kind of thing, right? I don't know what it is. I mean, Doom is cool, and I played a lot of I did play a lot of Doom 2016, but I also played a lot of Doom Eternal. And as good as those games are, those aren't my mainstays, since I am much more of a multiplayer gamer.
Right.
So outside of that, nothing. Bethesda typically has not interested me with their games. Now, my interest was piqued when the conversation started with Starfield, and I have played Elder Scrolls Online, although that's a MMO, which is definitely different. Again, more of that multiplayer experience. A lot of their games just don't get that light bulb going for me. So it's cool to see a lot of people's hype and excitement for them. Again, like Oblivion, I know a lot of people are extremely excited about that one coming back, but it's just not. They don't really spin the wheel for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why we talk to different people, man. Because like I don't want to hear the same old story. I like to hear when people are like, yeah, I don't, Bethesda, I could live with them or live without them. Like when Microsoft acquired Bethesda, that was a huge deal for me. Like a big Elder Scrolls fan. Oblivion definitely moves the needle for myself. That is
which is dope. Yeah,
there's very few games that if we could get a remaster on, I'd pick, and that is definitely one of them, right up there with like Morrowind. I really like Doom. Big fan. Doom Eternal was so good to me. It was just like a Terminator. Like I love id Software's just mechanics. I think they're the best shooting mechanics out of literally everybody. I don't think anyone touches them personally. But we'll see what happens with this one. I'm looking forward to another Doom. I was kind of hoping that maybe they would do something different and go out of the wheelhouse to just try, experiment and do something. But I love Doom Eternal, so I'm here for another Doom. Didn't like I tried the Doom Eternal's multiplayer, didn't like it at all. I probably played it for an hour and I was like, I'm good. So maybe they can do something with the multiplayer where everyone's Doom guy. That would be more fun, instead of like just fighting hordes of bad guys. But Fallout 3 remaster, that's good. That's new to me. I don't think I saw any rumors for that. What's up? Why so serious? What's going on, brother? A sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo. I see. As soon as I said that, I knew you were going to do that. Sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo. I don't know if it's going to happen, man. I'm not sure. I know someone in the chat said it was Game Pass fodder. I don't think it was fodder necessarily. I mean, I think they were trying to make a really good game. I think they made a decent game, but I think some of the combat stuff was a little bit lacking on that. But I love the world. Beautiful, beautiful game. Really enjoyed the world. Just I think it felt a little empty when it come to some of the mechanics. And then we got Dishonored 3. Kind of, I think we all saw that one probably coming. But Dave, what do you think? Does any of these games like move the needle for you? Are you excited for the outlook for Bethesda, or is this a letdown for you?
I'm excited for all of them, dude. To be honest with you, I mean, like, all right. So when my daughter, who's big Bethesda fan, saw, what was listed, she was like losing her mind. She's like, "Oh my god, I would love to replay that, but with a high-end graphics, or at least updated graphics." That's the thing for her, because that's the thing that kind of, obviously, when you go back and play the original Mario, bing, 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 and then you see the new Mario game coming out, it's like, holy crap, you know what I'm saying? So to her, that's what she wants. She wants that feeling, that next level of game quality coming out. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to do well, and I do hope that they actually bring the Morrowind series up to date too. So because that was,
That's top dog for a lot of people. Like, look, someone just said Oblivion is greater than Skyrim. I'm Skyrim first, Oblivion second, Morrowind third. But yeah, I mean, to each their own. It's funny to hear like what everyone is their huge Bethesda, Elder Scrolls type game that they love the most. But Morrowind is definitely one that comes up in conversations a lot. So I hear you.
Yeah, exactly. So and like it brought up in the chat, that list, the documents that were uploaded were a few years old. So maybe some things have changed. Maybe there's a whole bunch of things added to it. We can only hope.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting time to be a gamer, but like with you guys were saying, there's not every game isn't for every person. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
right.
I get that some games are like, I don't care about that. But then other games, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to see that. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have choice, variety, and and for me, if it's a game that even a few people really want and they want to put the time into it, more power to them, man. Because the more games, the better. And most of those games, all the games made by Microsoft are going into Game Pass. So you can try them out. Maybe a game you've never played before. You might be pleasantly surprised. I wouldn't have played the Vampire Survivors game.
I wouldn't have either.
I wouldn't have tried it.
I wouldn't
since it was free,
one.
Now I bought both the expansions. We played the other night with my son with the co-op, and it was so much fun, man. So much fun. So you thought it was crazy before, you're not seeing everything on screen. Play with 4 people and you got all this stuff coming at you. It's awesome. So yeah, games for everybody. Bring them on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, with that vampires thing, with that many people being on there, that game is, I can't believe that thing doesn't crash. Like it's so much crap on one screen. It's crazy. But yeah, someone saying I hope Wolfenstein 3 and Evil Within 3 are in the works. I think Evil Within 3 is. I'll be shocked if it isn't, but I don't know. Sappho saying many didn't know there was a Bethesda before Morrowind. That's true. I mean, I don't think I did. I think Morrowind might have been my introduction to Bethesda, and at that time I didn't know who the hell Bethesda was either. So, but yeah, I mean, to each their own. This isn't going to move the needle for everybody. Bethesda is a big get for me, for Microsoft to have them, probably even bigger than Activision. For me personally, even though I play COD and all those shooters as well. But let's move on to the next subject. More leaks. Okay, no, I'm sorry. This isn't a leak. Let's move on from the leaks. Actually, this is the CMA deal. So obviously, you guys saw that the Microsoft purchase of Activision Blizzard is provisionally approved by the UK CMA. We're not quite there yet. Does that ring a bell?
Ring a bell.
I'm so ready to not talk about this, or at least to talk about the other side of this after the acquisition goes through, right? That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the exciting stuff, like all the games that are gonna maybe come back, or just the back catalog of games that'll drop into Game Pass. I think will be great. But so the UK's Competition and Markets Agency shared preliminary approval of Microsoft's plan to purchase Activision Blizzard. The decision came after Microsoft restructured its deal, with the largest change being the sale of cloud streaming rights of Activision Blizzard titles to Ubisoft. The Competition and Markets Agency will receive third-party feedback over the next few weeks and expected to make a final decision before October 18th. That is so soon. We're almost there, guys. This is great. Yeah, so thoughts. I mean, I know that's vague, but there's so much to like take in with this. Steel, do you think this is over? Do you think this is as good as done with this news? And what are your overall thoughts about this whole thing that went down with the CMA not too long ago?
I feel like some people may get tired of people saying that, oh man, this is over, it's done, it's a wrap. Because I do feel like we've been consistently saying that for the last few months now.
That's true.
At this point, I mean, I do think it is, but more or less, I haven't really worried about it, because from the very beginning, if this deal would have been blocked, it would have, at least to me, exposed things about the industry that I don't think we would have necessarily been very pleasing of either, because if an American-based company can't make deals to become more competition, especially in a space where they're the number 3 player, I don't see how that's a problem. But we allow other governments to buy companies within our jurisdiction, and it's okay. I just that's just weird to me. And there definitely has always been this. I don't know if people want to call it a bias. I've always felt like there's been some form of that, just because Xbox does have a bit of that stank on it, because PlayStation is the popular brand. PlayStation has Sony, first and foremost, has always been a hardware company, and their roots dig in much further into the earth than Microsoft does, right? And Microsoft does have that big stink on it, especially for our generation, and maybe a little bit younger, but more so our like my generation older, know what Microsoft has come from, right? There's a reason why Windows is that above that 90 percentile as far as operating systems go, but nobody's but it's not that Microsoft is keeping anybody else from competing. It's just it's just not as I don't know why nobody else has stepped into the market and created something that was better. As much people complain about Windows, and this has always been forever a thing, but there's nothing better, right? And everything runs on Windows. You're starting to see Linux and things now, but so I do hope that this is kind of the last pieces of it, this next 3 weeks, and that we actually get this deal moving forward, because there's other deals that I would like to see happen. Again, Crystal Dynamics right now is being cut loose. And I know it's just marketing and things like that, and it's nothing major as far as the dev team themselves yet. But obviously Embracer didn't have a real plan. And if we don't get that team, then what? It's just another team that falls to the wayside, and there's so many other talented teams that may need that. There's other deals that need to be made. So,
Embracer Group did have a plan in place, but unfortunately, last minute it completely fell through the toilet.
Yeah, that's right. The $2 billion deal, right?
Group was actually going to spend like $2 billion and give them an injection because of the stuff that they were bringing out, and then for whatever reason, literally like a week before the deal was to be finalized, they pulled out. And
but even that's iffy if you're depending on that type of
to make or break you
to sustain. Then that obviously tells me that you didn't, because the whole thing about having plans is that you have to also have a plan B.
Have a B.
Right? This isn't small business.
Exactly.
This isn't us getting together to start a mom and pop shop and we build up. No, this is already a multi-million-dollar company running with 8-9 figures, talking about we need an injection to help get these games going. That's not how the games industry works, unfortunately.
Exactly. Well, they learned the hard way, didn't they?
Yeah, seemingly.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Embracer. I mean, it's obviously they're going to have to sell to somebody. Hopefully, Microsoft can come in there and swoop in and get some of those studios like Crystal D and anyone else that they're willing to. Maybe they'll sell the IPs too. I mean, they have IPs. I think they have. We always talk about Zeitgeist. Don't they own Lord of the Rings now too, as well? Under the gaming division, I'm pretty sure they do.
Didn't they say they're marketing the Borderlands team too? The Gearbox, I believe, is up for sale too.
Gearbox, yeah. So I mean, I don't know, man. Like the sooner that this deal can get done, the sooner than Microsoft can move on to and purchase and acquire studios that I think they wanted to acquire probably for a while, including even like guys like me, maybe even like Asobo. And we've been talking a lot about the cloud and.
That's a no-brainer,
stuff like
right
that,
there.
and that's a no-brainer. That's absolutely, you got your experts sitting right there. I feel like that one's probably going to be sooner than later, but we'll see. I'm curious to see, like, do you guys think anything's going to happen still with now that obviously Microsoft and Ubisoft are closer than ever? Can you see a world, since all the Activision games are going to get streamed through Ubisoft? Do you see a world maybe where we get some games from Ubisoft like into Game Pass? I know a lot of people have said, well, maybe we'll get Ubisoft Plus into Game Pass. I don't think that's going to happen, because I think that's worth more than probably Ubisoft is willing to give up. but I hope I'm wrong. But I mean, we just got word Division 3 exists, so that's cool. But do you think there could be any future deals since Microsoft, hand was forced to deal with Ubisoft and the cloud gaming thing? Do you think there's any deals maybe between Microsoft and Ubisoft in the future for things to come to Xbox?
I think there's going to be some interesting things that drop in between the both of them. Again, you don't cut big deals like that and just think that Ubisoft is going to have more control over that. I think that's also an injection for Ubisoft themselves, right? Xbox giving them some faith and saying, "Hey, we believe in your vision. Just help us out with this cloud thing. Hey, maybe drop a few games in the Game Pass for a few months or something like that." Again, I think that would definitely be the best thing for them, especially seeing the types of games Ubisoft is still currently making. Especially the rumors that I'm hearing about Mirage currently is that it's still very in line with the Ubisoft formula. It's not quite that traditional Assassin's Creed that they were trying to sell it as. So I mean, but we'll see. It may be. It's supposed to be a shorter experience. Again, quality games are quality games, but Division can't just be those single player games that you have, right? And so I think that's gonna be the best way for them to expand up. But yeah, I think there will definitely be some deals cut to kind of benefit each other. Sure.
Right. Hey, I do want to jump in real quick and say welcome out to Dealer from Dealer Gaming is in the house.
Hey, what's up, brother?
The man from RDX, one of the best Xbox exclusive shows every Tuesday night. It is an amazing podcast with an amazing talented team that he has put together. So, man, thank you so much for being here tonight, buddy. We appreciate you.
100%.
And if you ever want to join us, all you got to do is let me know, and I will send you a link.
That's right.
Just like that. I'm just letting you know, not to put you on the spot, but we do appreciate you coming in and chatting. And you got anything you want to talk about, we're here for you. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. All right, so back to it, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract everybody, but
of course,
and also we
absolutely.
have Mr. Jonah Darks in the house too. And Kay Asante,
what's up, brother?
Love it, man.
Yeah, we love you guys. Thank you guys for coming out and joining us. This is obviously our bonus episode, brought to you by everyone who was awesome enough to subscribe to the Gamers Council. So appreciate that from you guys. We love doing these once a month extra bonus episodes, and we love being able to get people like S7EEL on here that we normally can't get on because he's busy on Sundays. So it's awesome that he was able to come out. But Galvinson saying, is anyone allowed to buy Ubisoft other than Microsoft for the next 10 years? Absolutely. Yeah. So a part of this deal, a good point brought up by Galvinson, is that Microsoft can't buy Ubisoft for obvious reasons for the next 10 years, which is fine by me because Ubisoft is personally one of the companies I don't want Xbox to go out and acquire. I think their overhead's too much. I think it would just be a huge loss of jobs, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, I guess someone else could buy them. I don't know if you're implying like is Sony like gonna buy him and pull like a fast one and like F us somehow. I don't see that happening. But yeah, it shouldn't stop anyone else from getting it. I'm pretty sure Microsoft can. I don't know, Dave. Do you know this? Can they still buy stock into Ubisoft? They just can't get a controlling.
From what I understand, they can buy stock up to, but not over controlling interest.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, good points, guys.
For 12 years.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. JetFan95 saying not Ubisoft Plus, what I was saying earlier, but a version of it that doesn't include day and date or gold editions. I can see a version similar to EA Play. Yeah, and that's what I've been saying too, JetFan. Like a version of EA Play console version joining Game Pass, which is basically that's Ubisoft Classics. That's what I've been saying forever. I think maybe with this deal, maybe we actually get Ubisoft Classics, and I'm fine with that. My back catalog is massive anyways. So if I have to wait like 6 months to a year for, Ubisoft titles to come into Game Pass, I'd be perfectly fine with that. That would be great. It would just add more value to Game Pass as it is right now. He also saying Prince of Persia not being a day one of Game Pass is a blunder on Ubisoft's part. Yeah, I expected that one. I agree with that, Jet Fan. I thought that one was was kind of a given once I heard rumors about Prince of Persia and that it was going to be a side scroller. It wasn't going to be like this AAA over the top experience. I expected that to be in Game Pass, but I expect a lot of things to be in Game Pass that don't end up getting there. So it is what it is. Obviously, Microsoft is wanting to really own their IPs and just buy a bunch of these studios, which is also a great strategy. Because as we saw their price points when these leaks happen, Microsoft was looking at all the different games that they wanted, and some of the prices on some of these were just outrageous. Like we saw Baldur's Gate 3 for $5 million. At the time that was written, it's understandable. Baldur's Gate was like not this huge thing. But we saw like Star Wars, right? No one expected that.
So
like
we
were saying, how could you insult Baldur's Gate like that?
Yeah.
Well, this is old. Like this is old. So of course, like $5 million at that time probably sounded fine. But then we saw like Star Wars for $300 million. It's like holy crap, and that is why it is not on Game Pass. But it's interesting to see what Microsoft thought some of these things were worth, and if it was, if the juice was worth the squeeze or not. But G may be saying, can Sony even afford Ubisoft? I don't know. Probably not. I can't remember what Ubisoft's market cap is right now. I have it written down somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, the thing is, I think people forget a lot of times when it comes to Sony is they assume they're like Microsoft and they're gonna, just because they don't have the cash on hand doesn't mean they can't acquire those studios too. Like Microsoft's just a different monster. They're going to buy everything in cash because they don't have to get a loan from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different beast altogether, but I still think Sony could make moves, but I don't see Ubisoft being worth it for Sony anyways. But that's what I got, Dave. I think that's all the topics, man.
I got a few things to throw at us.
Yeah, go. Let's do it, man.
You're like, oh no, not these.
No. I know you're gonna bring some slander. I just have a feeling.
What?
No, you're good. I love slander.
That's such a bad word, slander. Let me get this pulled up real quick. There we go. Yeah. All right. So I kind of thought this was really cool because maybe we'll get an update coming up at the I guess the awards show at the end of the year, maybe.
Yeah, VGAs.
Meaning the VGAs because of this.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I think that's pretty likely. I thought maybe TGS, but everyone's like, yeah, but he's buddy with Keighley, Kojima. They can hug it out on the stage and talk about whatever the new cloud game that they're working with Xbox on, which I'm curious about. I'm not a Kojima fan, but I am curious to see what the hell this game is. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah. It says Phil made the comment. I'm very much looking forward to meeting with him and checking on the progress of our project. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Look at those two. Yay! Yeah. PR picture.
Yeah. So because he's in Japan now. So next week we'll be pretty good. Now, and you guys got any thoughts about this? What about his new game, or do you think we might see it next? Or maybe by the end of the year?
Do we know? Is it do we know if is it a horror game? Like, do we know what anything? Like, I haven't been following.
That it was that there was some stuff leaked, but we don't. There's no confirmation of any.
Okay,
of that
there's nothing.
real.
There's
Correct.
nothing confirmed.
Nothing.
I don't know. Like, I'm more excited about because I used to be an engineer, so I'm more excited about the technical side of this than I am the actual game itself. And I just want to see how it runs and how they're gonna implement the cloud and how they're actually gonna use it. But outside of that, it's I'm kind of lukewarm on it. What about you, Steel? How do you feel about this?
I'm not really a Kojima fan. The only Metal Gear that I liked is the Metal Gear that people say isn't really Metal Gear, and that's Phantom Pain. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. I really like that game. The online was really fun. It did need work, but I thought the story was cool. The overall gameplay elements of it were dope. So I know Kojima. I respect Kojima as a creative because I know what he has brought to those games, to previous Metal Gear games. So I'm not necessarily ignorant of that. But just like you, Rhetri, I'd rather see the creative side of it, what he's trying to do. What is this cloud thing that you said that you can't do with anybody else, that or what is this
Right.
grand vision that you have. I know at one point there was rumors that he was trying to use people's phones and get them to incorporate that somehow, and it's like, I don't know if I necessarily want something like that, Kojima. But again,
right.
That's the thing about creatives. Creatives can make you want something that you necessarily didn't think that you needed. So I am interested in as far as that goes. Again, it goes right back to ingenuity. Anybody that can kind of push the medium forward, try something different. It doesn't need to be the new standard like a Fortnite or something, but it could be unique in a way and show us something that changes how we look at games. So
yeah, absolutely. It's a cool concept, and it's Kojima. We know it's going to be weird. We just don't know in what genre it's going to be weird in. But Jet Fan had a good point. Says, I'm more interested in how the media will review it, being it's their golden child, Kojima. Yeah, but it is an Xbox published title, which the media hates. Yeah, that's a good point. We'll see. You know, are they still going to give their boy Kojima slander because he's playing for Team Green? I don't know. Probably. You know, there's an Xbox tax. We talk about the Xbox tax. I personally think it's a real thing. I'm seeing it way too often in the media, but I don't think everybody does it. I don't think it's across the board or anything like that. But there's certain, you know, journalists out there that I'm not a fan of for that reason. But let me, before we do go, I'm glad you brought up the Kojima fan, because Idle Sloth and Phil and Sarah and everything at TGS did bring up something that is near and dear to my heart. So thank you, Idle, for doing everything that you do. Let me share this screen real quick. And that's something I've been wanting forever. Let's just hit this.
Ooh.
Did you add the audio? I don't hear it.
Oh, you're not hearing it?
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh crap!
No.
I'm glad you guys said that. Hold on. Let me reshare that. Let me remove it and see if.
And then it gives you the option, the little check thing at the bottom. If the checker's on, then it should be audio.
Stop screen. Give me a second.
No worries.
Share screen. Let's see. It says share tab audio.
Okay. I don't know.
We'll try that again.
You hear it, but you don't hear it. That's cool. If it doesn't work, you can send me the link. I'll see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, it's one of Idle's. Let me see it. Let me play it right now. Let me know if you guys hear this right off the bat. Nothing? Nope. Anything?
No, I don't hear anything.
That's weird. Yeah, let me send you the link. Let's see. I'll send it to you in the private chat so everyone can see it. In case nobody saw this, but I'm super excited about this if it comes to fruition, because I've been banging on this drum for way too long. And I hope it's a real thing. I'll send you another one too, because
okay. I got it, like his front page. Okay, so is it the no, that's not the
sorry, hold on. Let me send it to you this way. I got you. All right, do the second one.
Is it
I'll send you this. The second one in the private chat should work. Yes. Okay. You buried the lead. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's the one. Yes.
All right. Well, I've got it pulled up here. Let's see if this will.
I'll send you the other one too, because the other one's a really good one that Sarah mentions as well, which is huge. Both of these are huge.
Oh yeah.
The second one's probably bigger.
Let me pause it and get it queued up. We're like, oh, this is on the fly. This is real time, folks.
Yeah.
This is what happens
how we do it live.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Exactly. Let's see here. Okay. Now you guys tell me if you guys hear it.
I'll probably play it a little.
Yeah, sure.
You got more time to think.
That's right. It's the advantage of going second in a two-person Q&A. I've always wanted us to go back and revisit the kind of mech assault, mech warrior.
Yes.
I think there's a lot we could do. There was so much about that whole franchise that in some ways I think was ahead of its time. And it would be nice to get to go back and revisit. We don't have a plan today, so it's not a leak of anything. Yeah. Speaking of leaks, but but that would be a nice one.
I love that. Oh God, I love that one so much. So I'm a big Mech Assault fan. So obviously the studio who did it, Studio One, doesn't actually really exist anymore. I mean, they're still around, but they were bought out like 10 years ago, I think, by the developers of World of Tanks out of anybody. And the Studio One was a talented team, man. They made Fear. They made some great games. So Mech Assault, Fear, like those guys were talented. So obviously it probably wouldn't be Studio One guys or whatever the heck they're called now. They're not Studio One anymore, but maybe FromSoft, maybe they can license this out to FromSoft, and they're already experts in mech games. So I would love a new Mech Assault, but I don't know. Steel, do you play Mech Assault at all? You got any love for this game, or are you like meh?
I grew up with Mech Warrior Black Knight back in the day. That was on PC. So Mech Warrior, I believe I was right around Mech Warrior 2, Mech Warrior 3. So I'm a huge Mech Warrior fan. Mech Assault was definitely much more arcadish. And I loved that on the OG Xbox. It was one of my favorite games just because it was easier to play. You didn't have to be too over the top to understand how that game played like you would be in a normal Mech Warrior style. So I mean, if they end up getting Mech Assault back, that I think that would be really dope to get another. I'm always going to be a proponent of representing mech games. That's my thing. I like people in suits also. Shout out to Master Chief. And Iron Man. But yeah, hopefully they definitely bring Mech Assault back or find a way to. I think the biggest issue with that has always been the licensing side of it. So
yeah. And I mean, Phil's even mentioned that in the past too, that it's like in a licensing nightmare. So I can't seem to get like a good straight answer on what that means with Mech Assault. It seems like it's just maybe it's like partially owned by like a million people. I don't know.
That's how things used to be back in the day, right?
Yeah, I mean, but they got Microsoft money. There's no doubt Mech Assault, no one else is going to bring that back. So I have no doubt that Microsoft money could absolutely purchase that IP and get it out of licensing hell. But I would love to see it happen. But I also sent you another one, Dave, too. It was Sarah Bond's because they were basically asked what they would bring back. So you could bring that one back or play that one because this is a big one for a lot of people. I think people would love this one.
Ooh.
All right, give me half a second here.
You're good. You're good.
It's like I have to do.
Sorry, my thing ain't working. I don't know what the hell's going on.
It's all right. But it's all right. It's all good. We work on the fly. That's what's wonderful about it. We'll get this. Okay, can you see it?
Oh, I can see it.
All right now.
Yeah. Beautiful Sarah Bond.
Sarah Bond.
Sarah Bond.
Any series or game that you want to see have a revival?
You go.
Okay. Well, not me so much, but especially since I've been here this week, a lot of fans and I've had a lot of people ask me in interviews about StarCraft.
Oh.
So I know a lot of you want that, which is what's most important. So it'll be fun to see if that's something that we can do in the future.
A first-party title or a third-party title? Is there any?
Yeah, I mean that makes the most sense. StarCraft was the number one RTS, especially in Korea, for a long time.
Exactly.
People still play StarCraft 2 to this day. Again, I think that's one of the strongest points, especially about getting Activision Blizzard, that I think people overlook and people also either underestimate or overestimate, depending on how you look at it. StarCraft is a mainline IP that has been dead for some time, or just hasn't had that attention for some time. And I think bringing it back to the forefront, especially as a first-party IP, would draw in a lot of the attention that Xbox is looking for. You want to grow a subscriber base, that is going to be one IP that will do that. But you have to continue to, you have to make sure that there's going to be somebody that's going to be good on that side, on that stand front. So it's going to be interesting to see if that ends up coming true for sure.
Look at that lineup right there on the screen, guys. I mean,
it's crazy.
All that is coming soon, first baby.
Yeah. God, I mean, like I know I gush about like Mech Assault, and it's probably not even needed, and I don't even know if it would sell that well. But if I'm in charge, I'm picking StarCraft over Mech Assault. If I had to choose one, just because of all the points that Steel just just made, especially if you want to talk to the Eastern audience. That is, you want to bring them in, that's the way to do it. Bring back StarCraft. So yeah, that would be interesting. It's nice that, you know, they're listening to the community. Like they, you know, Phil's was his own, but what Sarah said was that's what she's hearing from the community. And absolutely, like at TGS, I'm sure she heard that a lot. Like bring that back. You guys really want to move the needle in the East. Bring that back, you know. But yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got for tonight, man.
Sounds good. Yep. Sounds good. Well, with that, I gotta say a big, huge thank you to SteelReign. Dude, thank you so much for being here tonight. I hope you had as much fun as we did having you on as a guest.
Hey man, I really had a good time. We had good conversation. That's what it's about. Again, anybody that wants to follow me, it's SteelReign everywhere. The T is a 7. Google's probably the easiest place to type it in. You'll find all my information there. Tested it out, had the family test it out too. But I frequent the streets of X, which was known as Twitter, and the Xbox ecosystem, just because it just works so well in tandem between PC and the actual console itself, and even on the phone, man. So hit me up in a message. We want to link up in a game. I'm always on. If I'm online, I'll definitely hit you back up, and we'll go from there. But nonetheless, it was dope to be on here with you guys, the Gamers Council, man. Appreciate you guys' opinions, and I also appreciate you just asking me to be on it, even at all. It's always amazing to me.
Of course.
Well,
absolutely,
dude,
man.
You do a great job. You put out a great product. You have a great relationship and a great rapport with Pong. So you guys really, really are well balanced for each other, and you guys bounce off each other great. And you've been doing it long enough now that it's it's like you can tell it's like two best friends just diving in and talking about gaming, and that's what that's what I love. I don't always get to watch it live, but I always watch.
That's how it goes. Yeah,
same with this, man. It's like there's some great shows that are on at the same time as us.
All the time.
Fonz is on the beginning of our show. He usually ends while our show's going on, so a lot of times we get people from there, and we love Fonzarelli Gaming, great product. Wilmy Hood and his Gaming Beyond the Box is exactly the same time, and they're an amazing show. So either way, whether you watch us live or you watch us on the replay, we greatly appreciate each and every person. We also want to stress, please hit the like button on the way out. You have no idea how much it helps us, and we greatly appreciate it. It's a little thing you can do. Just click on the button or hit the dislike if you don't like it. They won't blame Rhetri.
Yeah, either way, you can blame me. Either way, it helps. So I don't care. You can hit that dislike button. Go for it.
That's too funny.
And don't forget, if you are new here tonight, hit the subscribe button as well. I do see some new faces. I'm not going to call you out, but if you could hit the subscribe button, that would be great. This channel is growing. We love our community. That's why we like to have conversations with you guys and get you directly involved in the show if we can, if possible. But I want to thank SteelReign for coming out tonight, man. Like he's been on our docket, I guess you can say, for a long time. So good guy. Make sure you go check out his channel, of course. They have great conversations. Him and Pong are just two peas in a pod, man. Like I love listening to those guys. So thank you, chat, for coming out. Good times as always. Talos, James Squirrel, no worries about getting here late, brother. It happens. We got to live our lives. So you're good, man. But thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate it. This was the bonus episode that you guys made happen. So I just punched.
That's the way we look at it. Yeah,
my bad.
So and it's all right. It's all right. I was welcome. C Money, appreciate you. Talos Ray, fuck you. Oh, I love saying that. But yeah, also as a last, as a reminder too, SteelReign's information is in the description of this video, and if you listen later in audio, it's right there too. So you don't have to hesitate about trying to find it. Just scroll down and click on it. It's there now. Not only his YouTube channel is there, and also his X profile is there too. So take you right to him. Make sure you subscribe, like, share out his information. Also too, when you subscribe to his YouTube channel, make sure you hit the bell icon because you do not want to miss their Saturday shows. And they are a powerhouse, meaning they last anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, sometimes longer. But that's okay because it's all, if you're into gaming, you're passionate about gaming like they are, you want to jump in because it's infectious, man. It really, really pulls you in. And the best thing about it is that it is a great format to talk. There's no disrespect, and they all play all different kinds of games, whether it's, consoles, PC, handhelds. They have a great conversation about it. And I don't want to oversell it, but I really want people to know that that Steel Rain puts out a great product, and that is the Living Split Screen. So please check that out. You will not regret it. Also, last thing I'll say on the way out the door, I'm keep rambling, is that we do, if you're interested in the show and you want to support us, we have a 99-cent. You can join our Gamers Council. You can actually be part of the council for just 99 cents a month, or at least try it out for a month, and you get all those cool emojis I just dropped. So there you go. So please, if you get a chance, join us for that. And Rhetri, tell them what's going on tomorrow night real quick, because we got a show tomorrow night too, our regular show.
Yeah, we got a show tomorrow night. I'm trying to remember who's there. Is it I'm terrible. It was Slow-Mo, Backslap. Who was our other guest for tomorrow?
Well, it was Slow-Mo. I actually sent you a message.
I missed it.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, Slow-Mo.
And he missed his own show. So he's like, dude, he doesn't have COVID, but he has the flu. So we are actually looking for another guest to jump in but tomorrow. But we do have the Foxy one.
Hey.
Hello.
Are you waiting for me? I can't remember who we had. Who was it?
Oh my god, this is so funny. We have Lady Foxfire.
Oh, is it Foxfire? I must call it a Firefox.
I did that on the show the other day. Yeah, Boom Show Friday.
Because I always flip things.
Dyslexia, whatever. I switched it up, and she was in the chat, and she's like, "Oh, facepalm." I was like, "Oh my god, I love you, hon. I'm so sorry." But she's our guest.
I apologize for not knowing what the hell's going on. I mean, I just I got the Tonight Show. I was an hour off, so it's just par for the course. But to your point, what you were saying earlier, if you do become a member of this show, we do allow, if you guys want, to actually come on the show itself. So when we say community show, we're not joking. Like if you wanna be a part of this panel, we'll allow you to come on the show. Obviously, if you are a channel member. So if you're brave enough and you want to talk about games, come on, you know, shoot us a message, let us know in the chat or whatever, and we'll bring you guys on. It's no issue whatsoever. And you don't have to. There's no pressure. You can stay. You can talk about one subject or anything that you want to talk about in particular. But that's what we want to do. That's why we're trying to grow this community and make it a real community podcast. So appreciate that. Sorry about that, Lady Firefox. That's what I'm calling you from now on. Yeah, it's been a long day. So
Fire. You'll get in trouble.
Isn't that what I said?
No.
Foxfire. I'm not gonna get that right.
That's
anyways.
Funny. That's so funny. Well, tomorrow night she'll be able to scold us live on the air for
she can yell at me tomorrow. That's fine.
Oh goodness. Thanks everybody for joining us. Have a great night. We'll see you all back here tomorrow night, same time, same bat channel, same time. Let's go. Woohoo!